All right, today we're going to be installing Void Linux. This is the base installation, and this is the grub menu on the install media. I'm installing this on a VM today just to test out the base install. Let's give it a shot. So I'm going to hit enter. Void Linux 6.12.11_1 x86-64. It's going to take a little bit to boot up initially. And it's going to change resolution here a few times because I'm doing this over a console connection instead of using a capture card like I've done with some of my other videos. But all right, so it gives us some instructions here. So, and we're at a login prompt, but there's some instructions above it. So it says, welcome to the Void Linux live system. 2 users available to log in. Root with the password Void Linux or Anon and the password Void Linux. So the Anon user has sudo privileges, which is great and all. And once you're logged in, you can say void installer to start the installer. You can get additional instructions if you want. So, yeah, I didn't even read that. All right, so anyways, let's log in here. Root void Linux. So I'm just doing this on as root because I don't see any reason really not to. It's the installer. So void installer. And there we go. Entering the void. Welcome to Void Linux install. Simple, minimal Linux distribution made from scratch and built from the source package tree available for XBPS. New alternative binary packaging system. All right, anyways, let's hit enter. Now, keyboard setup. So we have this nice text-based menu here, and we can select most things. Most of this is pretty easy to figure out, except the partitioning if you're not familiar with partitioning. Anyways, let's just go through this stuff. And I'm going to go with US. So I have a US keyboard. I'm going with US. And that sounds about right. So network. So we have wired network because it's a VM, so it's wired network. It should use DHCP. Should be pretty straightforward. Do you want to use DHCP? Yes. Network working properly. It's going to be a little bit more tricky if you are not using DHCP or if you're on Wi-Fi. And you have to put in like a bunch of details if you are on Wi-Fi, and it won't search for your Wi-Fi network, so you have to put in the name and password manually and stuff. Anyways, set source installation. So we're going to go locally from the media that we already downloaded. And mirror name. Let's select the mirror name. Do North America. And we have Chicago, Virginia, Michigan. None of them are super close to where I am right now, but I'm going to download from an edu domain. Not that it makes a huge difference. So, because I'm located in New York. Anyways, current mirror will be switched to this one. All right, that's fine. Mirror successfully changed. There we go. Mirror selected. Host name. Okay, I'm going to name this after the VM name. Void test 2. Locale. So let's see here. So E, I can't search by 2 characters, typing them basically really quickly. So ENUS right there. And time zone, we're going to select America and N for New York, and there we go. Root password. I'm going to set up a root password. There we go. User account. I'm not going to use the default. I'm going to use my default. Just user 1. And that's fine. I'll stick with the default for that. Password. And it gives you a lot of groups you could be a member of. I'm going to stick with the default for my user one groups. These are all pretty reasonable right now. Important one is wheel for sudo. So this should control sudo access. Well, we could check that out later. All right, so bootloader. We're going to install it on the only disk on the system. Would not work if we selected none. It would only make sense to choose none if we're going to use another distro to control that. So anyways, install the bootloader, use a graphical terminal, that's fine. All right, now we're going to partition the disks. All right, so I'm going to go ahead, I'm selecting the only disk on the system. You can use CF disk. I am going to try regular F disk. Anyways, modify partition table. Okay, that's fine. So you M for help if you want. You could do P to print out what's there. And you could say N for new partition. And do P for primary partition. Choose the first partition, first sector. And then we are going to say plus. And let's just, I know this is going to be too big. I don't need it this big, but I'm going to do plus 1 gig. Created a new partition 1 of type Linux and size 1 gig. Okay, so I think we're going to say T to select type. And that is going to be, we can do L to select the hex codes. I think we're going to do EF for UEFI. So let's see here. EF. And there we go. So to EFI, FAT 12, 16, and 32. And next we are going to create another partition. And this one we're going to make primary as well. And by default, it just picks the next number that's free, which is 2. So we're going to choose that. First sector, that's fine. Last sector, the default is the last sector that exists. Now, I could create swap space, but I'm not going to bother doing that. So I'm just going to leave swap space out now because it's strictly not necessary. I could create a swap partition if I wanted to. So partition type is Linux by default, so we're pretty good there. Let's print out what we have so far. So we have our EFI partition and we have our Linux partition right there. So we're going to hit W to write this, and our partitions have been written. So now file systems. This is going to take care of formatting the file systems. It's going to configure file systems and mount points. So we're going to go ahead and hit enter. That first one, our EFI partition, we're going to change that. And this one is going to be VFAT or FAT32 because that's just what's required for the EFI partition. And we are going to mount this at boot EFI, right? So hit enter. And there we go. New file system formatted there. So you see that row says, it says the size, and the FS type. Basically, that's all it's really telling us. Now, this second partition, our actual root file system with ext, we're going to format it with ext4 or extension 4. So let's hit enter to change that. We could use Btrfs, Oracle's Btrfs. All right, anyway, whatever. All right, we're going with extension 4. Btrfs is terrific and all, but I'm just going to keep it kind of standard and generic here. So I'm sticking with this. And specify the mount point, obviously is root right there. Do you want to create a new file system? Confirm, yes, we're good. There we go. There's all our file systems. Now we are done. Now let's go ahead and do the actual installation, and this part should go pretty fast. It's just a base system, no desktop or anything. So, all right, warning, partitions will be completely destroyed. That is completely fine. All right, creating file systems, counting files. All right, copy live image to target root FS. All right, look at that. That's going pretty quick, right? Look at the progress on that. That's fast. I don't have to fast forward this part of the install or anything. There's not a lot of this where I'm not doing anything. Like usually all the stuff we had to pick out a lot of things manually in this, but then the actual install is super fast. It's like the opposite of Ubuntu where you don't have so many options, but the install takes a good long while. I know it's kind of a trade-off. It's a little bit different, but anyways, it's pretty quick. It takes like a minute or two for this. If I don't know, I'll know when I edit this video, but almost there, almost there. Just it's copying files over to my target system. I swear it feels like it's going slower the closer it gets to 100%. Maybe because of caching or something. It's still going relatively quick though. We're at 90% already. Almost there, still almost there. I'm gonna keep going. I'm not cutting away, and I'm not gonna fast forward this part of the video because it's pretty fast, and we're gonna have our usable system pretty soon. We're gonna bounce this. There we go. Rebuilding init RAM FS for the target. So it does a lot of stuff for you really nicely. So it's a lot. It's a lot less manual than like Arch Linux or definitely less manual than Gentoo. But there you go. Almost, it's going to be done any second. Rebuilding init RAM FS. All right, come on, can finish quickly. Almost there. All right. All right, so looks like we have a little bit more to do. We can select services. I am mostly sticking, I mean, I want DHCP, crying. These are all pretty good, reasonable things for what I want. I mean, I might think about like ALSA or something if we're a desktop. WPA, I don't need this because I'm not using Wi-Fi. This is a VM, so I can turn that off. Otherwise, they're pretty reasonable. We're going to reboot the system. Void Linux has been installed successfully. There we go. That's the installation, and now we're rebooting. Running this on Proxmox. This is a Proxmox VM, and we can now boot into actual Void Linux. All right, so let's log in here as myself. All right, there we go. Etsy OS release. You see name is void, ID is void, pretty name is void Linux, gives us a URL, some documentation, specifies the logo anyways, and that's about it. So let's see how much memory we're using. That's the real question here. 3-H, and we're using 255 megs of memory out of, we have a 4 gig VM, 255 used. 3.7 free, well, a few kilobytes, less than a meg shared, 57 megs buffered, available 3.6. So that's pretty good, but we don't have a desktop running, so that's why it's that good. I feel like we should be using even less memory without a desktop. But there you go. Yeah, I guess we could poke around the system a little bit, but that's mostly all I wanted to show you. Yeah, here are our partitions. There are CPUs, and that's it. That's how you install Void Linux. That's how you install the base system. Now, if we had installed XFCE, So there's different install media. If we had I chose the base system. If you download the XFCE version, it's going to come with XFCE installed by default. But for this, we just have a pure text-based base system right here. So this is all you have, just this text-based system, and SSH is running. So this is the console right here, but we could SSH in if we want. It works great as a server, stuff like that, and you can install whatever desktop you want. If you like XFCE, or if you want something else, it's fine. If you did want to use something other than XFCE, you'd probably want to start with the base system like this. And if you do want XFCE, you might want to grab the XFCE media, or you could just install from here. That's all I was going to show you for today, just how to install the system, how to install the base system. So hopefully this was useful to somebody. I want to hit that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys on that next video.